Okay, Brittany, go ahead. You kick us off.
Okay, let me find my notes real quick. Okay, perfect. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Brittany Sunday, and Stacy and I will be training you guys on or talking to you guys about recruiting tonight. So I'm super excited to be a part of this amazing group. So thank you so much for inviting me. So you guys, we're going to go ahead and get it kicked off. I just want to share a little bit of my PC journey. For those that don't know, I'm Brittany Sunday from Clamor, Oklahoma. And when I think about my Pampered Chef journey, whenever I joined in May of 2019, it honestly feels like a dream to me. Let me just tell you guys, I had hosted a in-home party with Ellington in May of 2019. Honestly, she probably wanted to kill me because I rescheduled like 2 months consistently. And then we finally nailed down a date where it made it work and it was like the perfect day ever. But and I had hosted several Pampered Chef parties before, and I had always turned down the offer. She chased me multiple times for over a year. I was busy with an in-home bakery at the time where I sold several different custom desserts weekly, and I also cooked for 20 families, and I cooked hot and fresh meals for them every single week. And I also do baking around the holidays. So for Thanksgiving, it's really busy because I bake over 300 homemade pies. So when finally making that correct decision with joining as a consultant, it went hand in hand with what I love to do, which is cooking. So within 24 hours of me signing as a new consultant, I had already talked to Ellington and she told me everything that I needed to know in order to get started right away. I'm very competitive, but I really just like friendly competitions, but I am competitive. So when she told me to go out and book 4 parties my first week, I booked 6. My first paycheck from that week, I earned $387. And I thought I had literally hit the lottery. And I really did for my family because we needed it so badly. So, and guess what? I never had to leave my house for any of that money, which was great. I have 2 young girls, and so it was perfect being able to be at home with them. 35 days into my journey, I promoted to a fast track director. I didn't know what that was, but I remember when Ellington told me about it, I remember in the back of my mind, I heard $500 cash bonus, and you have the opportunity of earning a Disney trip. And I wanted that so badly. So my first step is I promoted and I cashed in on that $500 bonus. And then I was making my way up that path to make sure I earned Disney. And I remember going at the end of June to Ellington's home for her senior executive director team celebration, and Kathy Cocazella was there from home office. Everyone was talking about the excitement of national conference, and I wanted to go so bad. I came home from that meeting so excited, and I talked to my husband. Since that was the last day to sign up, he made his work schedule work where he would take off work and he would drive me to Chicago for me to attend my first in-person national conference. I was so excited, but I also was so nervous because I was barely 35 days into the business and I didn't know anyone but Ellington. Going to national conference was a game changer for my career. I wanted to soak it all in. I attended every single director breakout session, and I was writing and taking notes as fast as I could as we heard from the incredible top leaders in the company. One session, the speaker asked us to write down things that we wanted to accomplish by the end of 2019, and we couldn't open it until January 1 of 2020. I had wrote down that I wanted to promote to an advanced director team and earn Disney World for my family. I left conference on fire. I knew I had the support from my husband, support from Ellington, and my incredible friends and family since day one, but I personally lacked that belief in myself. I'm so glad I attended national conference because that gave me the boost I needed. I wanted to recruit everyone I talked to, and in August 2019, our team started to grow. We promoted to a fast track advanced director team on October 1st, a senior director team on November 1st, and we went for executive month 1 in November, but unfortunately we fell a little short. 2020 was coming, and I told myself we were doing this as a team. January 2020 came, and I had completely forgot about this little envelope in my national conference bag. I opened it and I cried when I read that letter. I had accomplished everything I had wrote down, from promoting to an advanced director team and earning that Disney trip for my family. It was an honor of being able to take my husband and our two girls. January and February of 2020, we hit month 1 and month 2 of an executive director team in just 9 months, and we broke Pampered Chef history during that time. Then March 2020, boom, COVID hit the world. I honestly was so scared, and I thought to myself, my business is over, and as everything around us was shutting down. Boy, was I wrong. It did the complete opposite. My sales were high, recruiting like crazy, and my team was growing so fast. April, we hit month 1 of senior executive director team. May, June, and July of 2020, we hit NED and officially promoted to an NED team on August 1st of 2020. What a whirlwind that was. We broke the record for promoting in 15 months of joining the business. And I do get to brag a little because I held the record for 1 month until Michaela came in and took it. But I'm okay with that because I'm a proud mama since I personally recruited her, and I'm so proud that she was able to take that record from me. I say all of this, I want to say all of this happened because of recruiting. We didn't get to a national team just by myself. It took all of our team's hard work, dedication, and offering to friends, family, coworkers, strangers, host, rockstar guest, and so many more. So I'd like to share with you guys our stats from me joining of 2019 to 2020 when we had a full calendar year. So let me share my screen real quick. Okay. So, and you guys can see my screen, right? Stacy, give me a thumbs up if you can see it.
We can see it.
Okay, so Team Unstoppable is our team name. In 2019, we ended the year with 138 team members. 2020, we ended with 1,195 team members. 2019, we had 676 parties as an org. 2020, we had 11,090 parties. 2019, we had 8 director promotions within our organization. And then 2020, we ended with 64 director promotions. 2019, we ended with $278,153.03 in org sales. And as you can see, in 2020, we ended with 6.1 million in org sales. And I can proudly say that we were number 3 in the entire team, or in the entire company, for new sales volume with that. So I'm super excited and proud of my team. Let me stop screen sharing for a second. I'm gonna get back to my notes. Sorry, guys. I'm not good at this. I put this little PowerPoint together last. Okay. And this all happened because of recruiting, just like I said. So words that come to mind when you think about recruiting, I want you guys to either write down on your pen or note with your pen and notepad, or just simply write in the chat. Words that come to mind when you think about recruiting. Is it fear? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Maybe rejection? And just think about that just for a second and write those down.
And be honest with yourselves. There is no right or wrong answer here. Be very honest about how you feel when you just hear the word recruiting. It's time to recruit. You've got to recruit. What do you think? Yep, I see a lot of anxious, nervous, fear. Yep, intimidated, nervous. Yep. Oh, okay. I see some real honest answers coming through now. Thank you. We appreciate that. No one wants to hear rejection, tired, responsibility, hard. Yes. So listen, these words that you are writing down are your gut feeling, your gut response about recruiting, and they actually are determining your belief about recruiting. And so if your words were actually words like, I'm excited, I'm confident, it's a great opportunity, it's a gift, I see it as a way to help others, you're probably very passionate about team building. And I'm guessing you're probably welcoming new consultants to your team on a regular basis. However, if your words were words like, afraid, nervous, fearful, unsuccessful, hard, time consuming, nervous, you're probably struggling with recruiting. And that's because that is how your fear, what you feel is what your core beliefs are about it. And we all know that your beliefs will always determine your actions, and your actions will always determine your results. And you know what? The biggest reason most people aren't consistently recruiting is because of fear. So if you wrote down any word that can be linked back to fear, what we want you to know tonight is you're not alone. You are not alone. As a matter of fact, both Brittany and I were afraid to recruit when we first started our businesses. Both of us. But if we let fear control our actions, it will always keep us from achieving our goals and living our best life and helping others to live their best life. When we let fear rule our decisions, it's going to keep us from taking advantage of opportunities that are sitting right in front of us. Fear keeps us from taking the first step off of the finish line. And the other thing that fear does is it only lets you see the downside to a situation. It never sees the upside. Fear causes us to self-sabotage. When I first began my Pampered Chef business, I can remember sitting at my kitchen table with my recruiter, because we did everything face-to-face back in the day. And we set my goal for booking parties. And then she started to talk to me about building a team. And I said, I don't want to recruit. And the reason I said that is I was afraid of hearing no. I was afraid of the rejection. And you know what? I was also afraid of someone saying yes. I was afraid of the responsibility. I was afraid if I said I wanted to recruit and then I wasn't able to, I would feel like a failure. I was afraid that if I said I wanted to recruit and somebody said yes, that I might not know how to get started or even have enough time to help them be successful. How about you, Brittany? What were you afraid of?
So in the beginning for me, when I joined, I remember being so excited for my bookings that I had worked hard for when launching my Pampered Chef journey. So I didn't want to offer these to the hosts for the business. I was being selfish because I knew their parties were going to be good parties and I wanted those sales personally. So as a new consultant, I didn't see that bigger picture that I see now when recruiting.
Yep. And that's a very common fear for a lot of people. So everybody, get your pen and paper or your fingers ready to type in your notes, wherever you're taking notes tonight. I want you to write this down. When I let fear keep me from sharing the business with others, I am being selfish. Oh, I said it. You heard me right. Write it down. When I let fear keep me from sharing the business with others, I am being selfish. Fear is always rooted in selfishness. We're always trying to protect ourselves in some kind of way. It's a normal feeling, but it's not the right feeling. 1 John 4:18 says that perfect love casts out all fear. That's because when you love someone and you care about them, you care more about them and their well-being than you do for yourself and your feelings. Now, listen, I know no one wants to be selfish. I don't want to be selfish. Even when I'm afraid to send that message to that host another time, in my heart of hearts, I want to do it to help him or her. There is a little bit of fear because I'm afraid I'm going to upset them, or I'm afraid they might say no, and I'm trying to protect my feelings. But when we see recruiting as helping other people, we can change our mindset about it and really focus on serving others and meeting their needs instead of protecting ourselves. That is the switch you need to flip. When you can see recruiting as serving others, your feelings won't be hurt when they tell you no. You'll just see it as it's not the right time for them. When you see recruiting as serving others, you are going to be excited to give your host his or her bookings to help them get their business started because you know how powerful that's going to be. When you see recruiting as serving others, you'll have trust in the systems that your uplines have in place along with Pampered Chef to help your new consultants find success. You are all part of amazing national executive teams. All of these ladies and gentlemen are my close friends. I know they all have strong systems in place to help new consultants get started. You will be fine. So now I want you to stop and think for a moment. You're here tonight because someone offered the business to you. And whether you've been doing this for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, you have benefited from this business in some way already. So very quickly, write down 5 things that you have today because of your Pampered Chef business. You can put them in the chat, you can write them in your notes, it doesn't matter. Just start thinking of the things that you have today only because of your Pampered Chef business. I can tell you that I have a brand new car today because of my Pampered Chef business. I can tell you I have no credit card debt today because of my Pampered Chef business. More friends, I see that. Oh, that's one of the best benefits. Yes, more Pampered Chef products. Christy has a knives and a truck. Chelsea has no credit card debt. Confidence. Yes, we often think of the tangible things, but there are a lot of intangible things that we get from being a part of this business. All right, I love it. So now, what if someone never offered it to you because they were afraid you might say no? What if they never offered it to you because you were hosting a party and you got 3 bookings from your party and they didn't want to give you those bookings? You might not be here today. What if they never offered it to you because they were afraid you might say yes and then not be successful? Recruiting is about meeting needs and serving and helping others. Now, listen, you're going to benefit from it. As national executive directors, you just saw some powerful stats from Brittany's teams. We've heard some amazing stories from the other leaders and lots of people and how this has benefited them. Their recruiter always benefits as well. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The person that recruited me benefited from that, and it's okay. So I don't want you to feel guilty about that. As a matter of fact, that's all the more reason to share this amazing gift because it gives both ways. It gives left, it gives right, it gives up, it gives down. And so Brittany's actually going to go over some of those amazing benefits of sharing the business opportunity with others for you.
Yes. So just like Stacy said, when we recruit sometimes and we lose those bookings to maybe a previous host, but we need to think about the bigger picture we're painting for ourselves and that new recruit. Don't think negative that you've lost out on those bookings because it is so much more than that, you guys. I'm going to share just a few examples. I think it needs to mute.
Yeah, I can't tell who that is. I don't know if Donna can see. I think it's somebody named Helen. Donna, if you can mute her. Oh, thank you. I don't know if Helen did it or Donna did it, but we're good.
Okay. So here are a few examples of what that bigger picture is when we recruit. We're helping them have a successful start to their new Pampered Chef business. We're growing our teams. We're getting more incentive points. We're getting overrides from our team. recruiting bonus when they qualify, and PC dollars when they qualify. So let's talk about some big benefits that you have when you recruit and help them start strong and help someone else's recruit as well. Sorry, someone else recruit as well. As part of our career plan, you always earn a recruiting bonus of $50, 50 Pampered Chef dollars for every new recruit who qualifies in his or her first 90 days. You also earn 3,000 incentive trip points when they qualify. When you help them build their team, you can earn an additional incentive points up to 6,000 points, you guys. So make sure that you guys are utilizing and taking advantage of that, because that can just continue to multiply for every single person that you help over time. And through our Fast Track Rewards program, every consultant is eligible to earn up to $3,000 in cash when they help a person they personally recruited build a team and promote to director. That's a lot of bonuses on the table for you when it comes to recruiting. And it's okay that you are rewarded for your hard work. So next, let me introduce you tonight to our amazing guest speaker, Miss Amy Robinson. She's an advanced director and a top leader in my organization. She has recruited 32 people since 2020. She is an excellence achiever in personal sales. She's also an elite seller and a level 2 trip earner to the Bahamas. I'm so excited to have you all listen to her amazing story tonight. Amy, go ahead and take it away.
Hello. So before Pampered Chef, I worked part-time for a physical therapist. And while I was working from home for her as a physical therapist, I did insurance. My son experienced a brain injury. And it was a brain injury that was so bad, he was removed from school. It affected walking, it affected fine and gross motor skills, vision. Um, he was unable to open string cheese. He had to crawl into the tub to bathe. He had to sit on the floor to put his clothes on. He couldn't stand. Like, it was an extreme brain injury. And so at that point, I was very thankful that I had this physical therapy job from home because I was able to be there for my son. Well, the physical therapist said, I need you to work full time. I said, I can't do it. I'm caring for my son. He's 10 years old. We're going to doctor's appointments, physical therapy, occupational therapy. And she said, I've got to let you go if you can't work full time for me. So I was without a job and I was put on unemployment. And I did that for 6 months. And my husband was like, you've got to find something. I said, what am I supposed to do? I can't go get a job. I can't go outside the home and get a job because of what all I was doing for my son. And so my aunt was in Brittany Sundays, was doing a host party with Brittany. And she called me and she's like, Amy, you have got to be a PC consultant. And I was like, no, I don't do that. I never had been on an online party before, ever. It was just not something that I would do. I didn't do sales. I didn't even do Facebook. I had never checked a notification in my life. And she's like, Amy, you need to call Brittany. You need to call Brittany. And I just kept saying, no, that's silly. And she said, I'm going to give you her number and you call her if you want to. And so I talked to my husband about it and he was like, you need to bring in money. Like, my husband was drowning because of the financial need, because of all of the new bills that were coming in. And so much with a brain injury was not covered with our insurance. It was astronomical amount of money. And so I called Brittany, and anybody who knows Brittany knows she's really good at recruiting. And so I call her and I just listened to everything she had to say. She offered me even to do a launch party. I turned her down. I was like, I don't even want to do a launch party. And so I thought about it. And I finally said yes. And I was slow at the beginning. I did a few parties here and there, but the parties I had were really big. I did a lot of teachers, and she approached me for fast track. I went to the first meeting. It was extremely overwhelming for me personally because of all that I was dealing with emotionally with my son. And I just was like, I can't do that right now. I mean, I shut down all the way. Well, she didn't give up. Brittany didn't give up on me. A few months later, she said, Amy, how about it again? I said, okay, I'll try. And at that point, the savings is dwindling extreme because of all of the medical necessities taking place for my son. And so I was like, I have got to become a director because we financially need this money. And so I buckled down and I made it work. I figured out how to get a system in place, listening to Ellington, and I sat down, at exact same time every single day and did my reach outs. And my biggest fear was the phase 2, which was recruiting. And Brittany just kept saying, Amy, I'll help you. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And I was just so afraid to ask. Well, phase 2 came, and with Brittany's support and encouragement, I made it through phase 2 and became a director. And for me, it's just been the biggest blessing. Like, I thought the PT, the physical therapy job, was a blessing. I make so much more doing this job, and it's even more flexible. I mean, this has been 2.5 years, and my son is still not in school full time. He's in school part time. He's still in vision therapy. He's still in physical therapy. He's still in occupational therapy. The bills are still there. And it's just, this job is awesome. And I'm very, very, very thankful for it. And because of recruiting, I became a director, I became an advanced director. And I just really feel like the organization has fully equipped all of us to be able to be successful in this business. So thank you, Brittany.
Wow. Thank you so much, Amy. And hopefully each and every one of you are feeling inspired and ready to start recruiting. Just like Amy said in the beginning, she shot me down. She said no over and over again, but I continued to follow up with her because I had the belief in her since day one, even though she didn't have the belief inside of her. So we're going to share some tips with you tonight on how to recruit. So we're going to be going over inform, invite, inquire, overcoming objections, and the intentional follow-up. Okay, so I'm going to kick us off with inform. So it is our job to inform the guest in our parties about recruiting. I want you to think about when you drive up to a fast food restaurant to order. What do you see? You see all of these different advertisements on their menu and new menu items, right? So I want you to make sure you are taking advantage and advertising our amazing kits just like it's advertised on those fast food restaurant menus, and advertise our amazing kits that we have to offer with your guest at your parties. You can post an image of the kits and just simply ask if they were to choose one kit, what would they choose? They would just simply message you their choice of the kit that they would pick. Another post that I love to share in my parties is a number that they pick 1 through 6, which I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see this. And it talks, and it says, choose a number, ask me about my business in the comments. So what they're doing is they're just commenting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And you can see right here, each one, it says, why did I become a Pampered Chef consultant? Do you get a discount? What's your favorite part of being a consultant? Can you only do virtual parties? How much does it cost to get started? And is there a minimum that you have to sell each month? So what they're doing is they are commenting on your post with one of these numbers, And then you are simply replying back in the comment section or personally following up with them in a private message.
All right, thanks, Britt. Oh,
sorry, I wasn't done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop screen sharing. Okay, so next, maybe you want to put a post in there, a post about what would an extra $500 per month help them do? What would they spend it on? For me, I personally do a lot of voice clips with my guests and my parties. So make sure that you aren't just posting these images and not paying attention to them. You want to make sure that you're tagging all the party guests because they will also earn the tickets that we offer. And everyone loves tickets and parties, right? So interacting with posts like these, it opens up the communication and then building the relationships with the guest in the parties.
Okay, so I want you to imagine for a minute that you're planning a big summer party. You're posting about it all over Instagram. You're posting about it all over Facebook. You're talking about how excited you are that you're having this party. And you're doing this every day for an entire week. You post pictures of all of the food that you're making. You post pictures of the new outfit that you bought that you're going to be wearing. You post pictures of all of the decorations that you bought. You post pictures of the DJ and the playlists that the DJ is going to have. Without fail, every single day, you post something about this party and how much fun it's going to be and how excited you are to be planning it. The day of the party comes. The food is ready. You're looking hot in your new outfit. The decorations are on point and the DJ's playlist is rolling, but no one shows up to the party. Why is that? It's not because they didn't want to come to your party. You created hype about it. You just didn't invite anyone to come. When you are putting posts in your parties, you're creating hype, you're creating excitement, you're creating the desire for people to want to come. But that doesn't bring the people to your team in most cases. You've got to reach out to invite them. So step 1 is inform, create the hype. Step 2 is invite. Are you messaging every single guest that comments on a recruiting post in your party and inviting them to learn more about the business? It's as simple as saying something like, hey, Brittany, thanks so much for sharing that earning free products would be your favorite perk of having a Pampered Chef business. I'm curious, have you ever thought about trying something like this? That's an invitation. Let me show you an example of 2 different conversations. These are real conversations from my parties. Brittany, give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Did I share the right one? Okay. So you can see this first section right here. I messaged the guest. Hey, so-and-so, thanks for sharing with what you would do with an extra $500 in host party. I'm curious, have you ever thought about doing something like this all online to earn a little extra money? She shares she's considered it. The conversation door is open, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Here's another example. This is just from last month, and she joined my team actually on July 1st. So I want you to take note of that. The conversation started on June 21st. She joined on July 1st. Same thing. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? Haven't thought much about it, but some extra money would be nice. That is an invitation. Oops, now I lost my notes. I have 3 monitors here and everything goes around. So I have a goal for myself to have 5 different guests from every party that comment on a recruiting post that I can reach out to and invite to learn more. And I'm tracking all of that in every party. So at least 5 guests, not my host, maybe not even my rock star guests. Brittany's going to talk to you about that in a second, but 5 guests that comment on recruiting posts, and I'm reaching out to them to invite them. So that's the invitation. The next the next step in recruiting is after you inform, after you invite, you go to the inquire step. Now, if you look up the word inquisition on Google or anywhere, the definition is a prolonged period of questions. When you're recruiting, are you talking and telling, or are you asking questions? The goal of the invitation is to start a conversation with the person that you've asked. And to keep that conversation going, to keep the inquisition going, it is important to never have the last word yourself until you get a firm no from them. Never have the last word yourself until you have a firm no. So how do you ensure that you never have the last word? By asking questions. Continuing to inquire is how you keep that conversation going. Now listen, as you're messaging back and forth with someone about the business, it's very important to be clear and concise in the information that you are sharing. Do not throw up all of the benefits of being a Pampered Chef consultant to them in one message. Clear and concise. You should be able to read it in like 5 to 15 seconds. Read it back to yourself. It's also important to then ask a question to keep that conversation going. Let's see, I lost. Yeah, also always end with a question. Don't depend on them to ask you a question. If you wait for that, the conversation is going to stall. It's going to end. So if the last thing you type ends with a period or exclamation point, you've ended the conversation right then and there. Always make sure you see that question mark. And here's something else that's really important to know. Rarely, I'm not going to say never, but rarely does someone say yes to the business the first time they're asked. Rarely. You can ask someone to book a party in the first message, and often they'll come back with a yes. But what happens when you're talking with someone about the business is during this conversation, it becomes a cycle of sharing information, overcoming an objection, and then asking another question. I mean, think about it. Did you say yes the very first time you were asked? Probably not. I said no for 9 years before I said yes to this. Now, when you're faced with that objection, don't panic. I'm going to give you a 3-step process that you can use to overcome the objection. First, validate it. The person needs to know that they're not alone. They're not the only person that's felt this way. Maybe you felt this way. Maybe somebody else felt that way. Or maybe you know that lots of people feel this way. Validate how they're feeling. Don't say you shouldn't feel this way because. You first need to make them know that what they're feeling is normal. Then you can offer a solution or solve. So it's validate and solve, and then ask another question. That is how a conversation typically goes. So let me show you an example of that. This is a real conversation with someone that I had. Oops, now I got to find my PowerPoint. Here we go. Okay, so we were texting. I asked if she had ever thought about trying something this. She said, let me think about that. I asked her if she's considered it in the past. Here comes the objection. Not really. Main reason, I don't really know how to cook and I don't cook often. And then I'm validating it through, OMG girl, did you see my post about being the hamburger helper queen? LOL. So I was telling her I'm the same way. I didn't love to cook either. I do very little of the cooking in the house to this day, but I have learned a lot. Is that the only thing holding you back? There's the question to keep the conversation going. Here it is again, another objection. This is how recruiting conversations go. It's normal. Don't let this deflate you or dissuade you from going forward. She says that and time. I'm the assistant manager at McDonald's and I work a lot and take care of my granddaughter. I understand. I'm validating her. Most people worry about having enough time for this more than anything else. Now I'm offering the solve. I find they think it takes more time than it actually does. Here's a secret. We use a posting service, yada, yada, yada. You guys know all the things to say. Here's the question. If you were to try it, and I love using the word try, we don't need them to marry us. We just want them to date us for a few months. Then they can decide if they want to go full in. Use the word try a lot. If you were to try something like this, would it be for the extra money, free products, or something else? And then the conversation keeps on going. So I just wanted to make sure you had an example of how to overcome the objections and how to keep that conversation going. Oops, got one more slide for you. So I'm going to share with you some great questions that you can use to keep conversations going. These are my go-to questions. What interests you the most about joining? So you saw a version of that in the last slide. What would be your reason? Extra money, extra products? Sometimes I'll just ask, what interests you the most? Have you ever done anything like this before? How much money would you like to earn? Would you want to do it all online or incorporate some in-person parties as well? Which of the kits do you like the most? What other questions do you have? Is there anything holding you back from giving it a try? And then, are you ready? Excuse me. Are you ready to get started? That is the most important question. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. You want them to sign up, so ask them if they're ready. Excuse me. Okay. And if they aren't ready, ask them what's holding them back, because you can't overcome the objection unless you know what it is. When you get that yes, sign them up. When you get a no, turn it into a booking. They're already interested in the products, interested in the business in some way. If you're in this conversation, turn it into the booking, because when you can get them booked on your calendar, you still have a hot recruit lead. And Brittany and I are going to be going over that in a second, in a minute. But we're going to be going over that in a minute as well. All right, Brittany, you want to talk about the rockstar guests? Let me start.
Sure. Okay, so I just briefly want to talk about the rockstar guest. So maybe some of you on the call, you don't know what a rockstar guest is. So what is one? How do you identify them? So in our organization, we identify a rockstar guest that is anyone that has commented on 2 or more posts throughout the party. Typically, I like to identify my rockstar guests, especially the ones that have messaged me first, just like those recruiting posts that I had shared earlier. Our ultimate goal is to get people to message us. That way, Facebook isn't flagging us and you're not going and, trying to track them down. They're coming to us, and throughout the party, you're building that relationship. So after they comment twice, or they message you twice, you're not going in and saying, oh my gosh, you're my rockstar guest. You are continuously building that relationship throughout the party. On Thursdays in our organization is when we share, or when we send out our rockstar guest messages. And it simply is just as easy as, hey, Stacy, you are what I call a rockstar guest. You have been so fun throughout this party. I have enjoyed building this relationship with you. You have been so fun interacting in all of the games. Have you ever considered giving something like Pampered Chef a try? Because you would be great at it. And typically, they're not all going to say yes. You might have one that says yes in a blue moon that would love to join the party, but a lot of them are going to say no, and that's okay. Because what we are going to do is whenever they message back and they say no, that, no, they've never thought of it, it's not for them, you'll just simply reply back to them and just say, hey, Susie, I know that you said that you weren't interested in my team right now, but would you be interested in at least letting me pamper you with hosting an amazing Pampered Chef party just like Stacy and earning some incredible rewards? Typically, they're going to
97 The Ranch.
Melissa,
It's time now for your local weather forecast.
Melissa
Gray tonight, some
Chambers, I think.
clouds with a low of 6.
Mute, please. Thank you.
Okay. So typically they're not going to want to decline your offer a second time. I mean, sometimes they do, and that's fine. But typically they do say yes. And then what does that lead to? That leads to us going in, and we're going to transition and talk about this next, where once we get them to host, then we're going to be able to ask them 6 more times as a host to join our party. So that's what a rockstar guest is, on how you're trying to flip that, flip them into a recruit. If not, you're going to be flipping that into a booking. That is the ultimate goal. So that's just a little bit about a rockstar guest. At the end of this, I will share, I know I'm seeing some things in the chat about sharing the verbiage. I will get that sent to the other NEDs and they can post that on the org pages for you guys.
Right. So let's talk about your host right now. Every single party has at least one super hot recruit lead, and that is always your host. I probably hosted 15 parties before I became a consultant. You never know when the host is going to say yes. What we do know is they already love the products. We don't have to sell them on that. We know that they love the party format, so we don't have to sell them on that. And we know that they probably love or like you, and people want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. So if they booked with you, they know, like, and trust you, and that's really important. So yeah, we're going to share with you 6 times very quickly. Brittany and I were like, oh my gosh, how do we talk about recruiting and all the things in like 40 minutes? We've got a little bit more. Don't leave us. It's going to be, it's here to help. We're here to help. Anyway, so 6 times. You may have heard 5. I have a 6th time that I'm going to share with you when you can offer the business opportunity to your host. The first time is when the party is booked. If you haven't already talked to them about the business because they were your rockstar guest, because they commented on a recruiting post, and you're doing the booking reach outs, as soon as that date is confirmed with them, are you asking them to join your team? So that conversation I showed you earlier, where I was overcoming the objections, this is the beginning part of that conversation. See, let me think about that for a bit and I'll let you know. We booked the date, and then here's the ask. Also, this might be the farthest thing from your mind, but I wonder, because this is such a fun and easy side gig, if I could show you how to do this all online in just a couple of hours a week, would you be interested in learning more? So is that your first ask? Or that can be or should be your first ask. The second time is when the party is starting. Now, sometimes the party is booked the very next week. So you can just say something like, I know you said no last week, but just in case something has changed, I wanted to make sure you don't want to try, or would you like to try out being a consultant? Most of the times, let's be real, most of the times when you're booking parties from parties, those parties are several weeks to often several months away. So it's a good idea to revisit it again with them, because things change in people's lives all the time. So this is the message. You can see I asked for a thumbs up just to let me know that we're still good for this Friday. Like, I'm getting ready to set up her group. My next response, awesome. I want to help you get everything on your wish list. So follow my daily tips and suggestions for best results. I'll message you tomorrow when it's all set up. I have a quick question for you. Pampered Chef is having so much success and we're looking for more consultants. Because you're hosting, you can get one of our starter kits at a discount. We could use this party as a launch party for you. If I could show you how you could do this all online, would you be interested in learning more? No, thank you. People rarely say yes the first time. This host actually joined my team, but I wanted you to see that she said no. All right, Brittany.
Okay. All right. So next is when the party guests are joining. So you want to let the host know how many guests have joined. And I love to send voice clips, so I'm going to share my screen in just a second, but you'll just simply say, wow, Susie, you are rocking this party. And I can already tell your friends and family love you and are here to support you. Are you sure that you don't want to give this business a try before we kick off your party this Friday? So it's just something simple like that. Like I said, I love to use voice clips. And then next is when the party hits 200. So make sure that you are letting every single host know when they have hit this level. It is so important to tell them about the $25 kit credit. Most hosts have no idea what it even means, so you make sure that you're explaining it very well. Sometimes our hosts hit this level before the party even kicks off. You still want to share this with them. You can possibly even go ahead and close out their party if it's reached this before it's even kicked off, have them redeem the kit credit, and then their party can actually turn into their launch party. they'll be earning the host rewards, the commission, but then hopefully they're going to qualify and you're going to earn that those trip points and the recruiting bonus as well. Next, you're going to message them when the party is closing. Like I said before, I use voice clips all the time. So I'd simply just say, hey, Linda, I know you said you weren't interested in joining my team right now, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't share this with you. If you had been the consultant for your party, you would have made $218 from your party, and you never would have had to leave your home. Isn't that crazy? Are you sure you don't want to give this business a try just for 30 days? So let me share my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you. This lady has not joined my team yet, but you can see right there, I sent her a 58-second voice clip. And then she just comes in saying that she can't be a consultant right now. She's inherited 2 kids. She's actually just finished her chemo treatment. It's just a lot of stuff has been going on. But down at the bottom, she says, however, I do love to cook and bake and try recipes all the time. So I won't rule out being a PC consultant in the future, like late December or early January, sooner if I get everything caught up. So even though she told me no, not right now, I actually just had a conversation with her this evening, and what she was doing, her party was incredible. I actually got a recruit from her party, not because I did the work, she did the work. She was tagging people within her party, wanting people to sign. And so her niece is actually going to be signing. But what she doesn't know is, just like Stacy said, the 6th ask is I'm going to be following up with her before that future host, her party kicks off, just to ensure she doesn't want to give this business a try. That way that recruit can be underneath her, and her launch party will be there. So anyways.
And there you have it. That is the 6th ask. 5 times during the party, when it's booked, when it's starting, when the sales are reaching 200, when lots of guests are joining, before you close it out. Then couple weeks, couple months go by. Brittany has a party. She says no to the business all 5 times to me. And then Ellington books a party from Brittany's party. So I'm reaching out to Brittany to say, hey, Brittany, Ellington's about to have a party. You get a future party pick. I want you to, coordinate your ordering with me. And I'm curious if anything has changed since we closed your party, because if it has, you could actually do Ellington's party. Here's an example of that for you real quick. Oh gosh, where's my mouse? There it is. Without fail, I reach out to every past host when their bookings start, and I ask them if anything's changed. Here she says, and I saw some of this in the chat, so I want to read this to you. I'm thinking about consulting, but I'm really a bad salesperson. And even when I did the party, it didn't work out well. This consultant, we barely scraped by at $200, barely got a qualified party. But I'm really looking for a way to earn some extra money for some upcoming expenses. It happened to be a $39 kit month. I encouraged her with the strong systems that I have in place to help a new consultant get started, and use the word try. Again, what if you just try it? This new consultant reached her 5,000 in less than 90 days. So don't let a bad party experience keep you from offering the business to that host. Okay, real quick, Brittany, intentional follow-up.
Okay, intentional follow-up. When it comes to intentional follow-up, it starts with tracking, and you must have a system in order to do this. It doesn't have to be a crazy system. There are many ways to track. So whatever you are comfortable with, whether it's Excel, Google, Calendar, Remind, or just a good old-fashioned notebook, which is what I typically have everything in. So whatever works best for you, as long as you're consistent with your tracker and system, you will be successful with it. Remember, in the party, you're going to be informing, inviting, inquiring with the guest. A great question to ask at the end of the party to them is, I'm curious, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being nope, I'm not interested, or 10, yes, sign me up, what number are you? This will help you place them on a tracker to see if they are a cold, a warm, or a hot lead. If they're a 7 to 9, they are a hot lead, and you want to continue that conversation and validate any questions or concerns that they have, with the goal of moving them to a 10 and getting them signed. If your team is having an upcoming opportunity event, This is a great time to get them plugged in right away so they can learn even more about the business. If they answer that they're a 4, a 5, or a 6, they are someone who we would call a warm lead. They are thinking about it, but maybe they just have too many things going on, or just now isn't the right time. You can ask for their permission if there's a better time to check back with them, or maybe if there's a sign-on promotion that you can share with them or follow up with them at the beginning of the next month just to touch base. Everyone's lives change. Today they could be a 4, Friday they could be a 10, but it is extremely important that we have them identified on your list so you know when to reach out. If they respond that they're a 1, a 2, or a 3, they would still be a recruit lead, but you would just reach out to them maybe once a quarter, or maybe just whenever there's a big sign-on promotion. But the bottom line is, make sure that you have a tracker where you can identify what category. That way you can follow up with them accordingly.
That's it. All right, let's wrap this up. If you're in this business any amount of time, you're going to hear this phrase: recruiting fixes everything. You want more sales? Focus on recruiting. Why? Because you have to book the parties to find the recruits. You want to move through the career plan to national executive director? Focus on recruiting. You want to earn all the fast track rewards? Focus on recruiting. You want to earn an incentive trip? Focus on recruiting. And don't limit it to when there is a sign-on bonus. There's no sign-on bonus this month. It's a fantastic time to join Pampered Chef. And think of all of the people that you might miss if you don't offer it this month, just because there's not a $39 kit, just because they can't earn a blender. There's a million reasons for them to join Pampered Chef this month. And as I wrap it up, I want to remind you again and encourage you to remember, recruiting is an opportunity for you to make a difference in someone's life. So my team name is Stacy's Superstars, and our name has a double meaning. Superstars, pretty obvious, right? The part that's not obvious is it's not just about the stars. It's not about the stars in the sky. It's actually about the stars on the beach, starfish or sea stars. And it comes from a story that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's a story of an old man walking along the beach who comes upon a child sifting through the debris that was washed up on the shore by the night's tide. And every so often he sees this young boy bend down and pick up a starfish and toss it back into the sea. Now the old man sits there and watches him and is really perplexed by this. He's wondering, what is the purpose of all this? So he says to the boy, "Why are you doing this?" And the boy says, "Well, the tide has washed the starfish up onto the beach and they'll die unless I throw them back." And the old man looks around at the miles and miles of beach and all of the starfish. And here's one boy trying to throw them back. And he says, "There are more starfish on this beach than you could possibly ever save. You can't possibly make a difference." And the little boy bends down, picks up another starfish, doesn't look at the man, but casts it back into the ocean and says, "I made a difference for this one." It might only be one person, but if you make a difference in their life, it matters. Be like that boy on the beach. Search your parties, find the starfish, ask everyone, and ask them again and again and again, because it matters. You can make a difference in their life. One day, you might just ask a girl who grew up having her mom send her into McDonald's to grab napkins for free because her family couldn't afford to buy toilet paper. She got free breakfast and free lunch at school. Her dad stood in food lines when the government was handing out bread and cheese and non-perishables. She got married at 19 and had her first baby at 21, so she didn't finish college. And as a young married couple, her and her husband struggled to make ends meet. The credit card debt is piling up and she can't get a job outside of the home because now she has 4 small kids at home and she's homeschooling them as well. She has a very low self-esteem. She doesn't know a thing about cooking, but she is desperate to find a way to make some extra money. She's very shy very introverted. And most people think she would never be successful at something like this, especially herself. But you'll ask her and you'll tell her that you believe in her and you know that she can do this. And she might say to you, no, thank you, many times, many years. But one night she'll be laying in bed, wide awake in the middle of the night, and the stress of this debt will be too much for her to bear any longer. So she'll reach out to you and ask you about joining your team. And you'll encourage her and you'll help her and you'll get her off to a strong start. She'll tell you she doesn't want to recruit, but you'll encourage her and you'll promise to help her each step of the way. She'll follow all of your tips, and in less than 6 months, she'll pay off all of her credit card debt. Then she'll pay cash for braces, cash for cars. She'll pay cash for college for her children. She'll earn free vacations. She'll have to get her first passport because she'll earn her first trip outside of the country. She'll learn an awful lot about cooking. Even though she might not still like it, she'll know how to do it. And her self-confidence will grow. One day, she'll adopt a baby and be able to pay cash for that entire adoption because of her Pampered Chef business that you helped her start, the business that you offered over and over and over again. She'll be able to live a debt-free life. She'll walk into a car dealership and pay cash for a brand new car. She'll start a nonprofit that gives back to her community and helps orphans and widows. Because you see, when you make a difference in someone's life in Pampered Chef, it's not entirely like the starfish. It's not just that one starfish. It impacts others as well. It's like a butterfly effect. It doesn't stop with them. The ripple effect keeps on going and going. Recruiting is not about you. It's about helping and serving others. So we are at 9:03. We left you no time for questions. I'm sorry. I can stay on if you guys want to ask questions. Should we do that, Donna, or what should we do? I'm sorry.
I'm committed to another call.
Okay.
But if I didn't see a lot of questions throughout this. So if folks want to go ahead and we'll stay on for 1 minute. If you want to type your question in, we will see if we can find a way to get those answered. But I think most of them got answered. This was
I think so too.
amazing. Amazing. I think most of the comments have just been just how inspiring and just valuable this training was. So you guys were very detailed. I think we covered it. Yes, it looks like we're good. So thank you, ladies. Amazing. And now I know everyone has.
So
no
I see one, they're asking for verbiage. Reach out to your national executive director, because every single one of them is going to have verbiage that you can use. And then that makes it a little safer for everybody. If we're all using the exact same words, we could all go in Facebook jail. So reach out to your national executive director and ask them for the verbiage, because I know they all have it.
Yes, great advice. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.